As you can see, we've gotten ourselves a swivel seat because we're facing the back of the van instead of the front of the van like usual.
For a while we've been debating whether we actually want a swivel seat in our design. We've been going back and forth for lots of different reasons, but as you can see, we ended up getting one.
And the big question is, why? Given that we have been quite convinced that we will not be getting a swivel seat because of our semi-traumatic bruising experience in Scandinavia with swivel seats.
Ow, 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 ow.
In the next video, we're going to be installing a swivel seat, and if you would like to know how to do that step by step, then please remember to subscribe and press the bell notification icon so you don't miss out. But if you want early access to that video and many more behind the scenes footage of this van build, then you can become a Patreon in the exclusive van build community. And I would just like to take a moment to thank all of our current patrons for supporting our content, because you're making this possible. Woohoo!
So swivel seats, are they worth it? First thing that we should probably explain, what is a swivel seat?
A swivel seat is basically a car seat that was once facing forward can now face backwards. A lot of campers and RVs tend to have swivel seats because they seem to expand the living space, which they sort of do by, like, I don't know, 50 centimeters, which in a small space is a huge bonus. But why are we even debating this? Well, I'm glad you asked. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, we had a rather bruising experience in Scandinavia with swivel seats.
And the reason why they bruised us so much is because when you were swiveling them, they were quite the parking challenge.
So you swivel them around and you have to drive them back and forth just so you can pass all the curves of the van.
We had to drag our seats nearly all the way forward just to reach the table in the first place, which kind of negates that gain space that you get in front of the swivel seat.
So I guess the first point in this is make sure that if you're gonna get swivel seats, make sure that it actually benefits your design.
Another very important factor that we found out is that if you were to use the swivel seats as your only permanent seat in the van, it isn't actually that much of a full-time living solution, because these seats are not designed to be sat on for like 12 hours a day. They do get uncomfy. If you seriously wanted to lounge out and watch Netflix all day, these are not the seats for it. It just doesn't work, and in Scandinavia, this was our only sitting solution in the entire van.
And actually, so here we have a double swivel seat, which are actually much rarer, and the swivel bases are harder to find. So in here, you can cuddle a little bit because there's no barrier between you two. But usually, what most people do is they actually remove the double swivel and put a single swivel in here. So both the driver's seat and the passenger seat at the front can swivel independently. So you have like two big loungers.
Yeah. The advantage of that is that you get more room to swivel, so it's a lot easier for both people to swivel around, and you've got a lot more space to move around. However, the disadvantage of that is that you lose a seat.
And yes, reducing it to two seats, it gives you a nice corridor from the front of the van to the back of the van. But honestly, we're quite agile people.
Clamber over the seats.
Despite us having a swivel seat, we're still going to have a very comfortable couch in our design, because this is going to be our full-time home, and honestly, I cannot imagine this being our only sitting solution. And because of the way they tilt, right now, it's not actually, this is me leaning backwards. It looks rather awkward if you ask me. So we're still gonna have a couch. We're gonna be discussing it in our future videos, exactly how the layout is gonna go around these swivel seats. But the couch is actually gonna be here, right in front of us.
Right down there.
So I'm guessing the next logical question you have is, how much does it actually cost to convert a seat to a swivel seat? Well, to do that, you need to buy a swivel plate.
Double seat swivel plates are even harder to find than single seat swivel plates. There are plenty of companies out there for the single seats that will be happy to do the conversion for you, but they can cost £400, £500, £600,
£7,000,
£8,000, £9,000. Depending on how much you want to pay, but the cheapest one to get someone else to do it is probably about £400 or £500 from what we've seen. But the only thing that you actually need to buy in order to make a seat swivel around is two independently moving plates. One that you bolt to the seat base and one that you actually bolt to the box that the seat is put upon, and then they essentially do that, and you're able to swivel the seat around.
And watch next week's video to actually get a demonstration of that.
So the reason we got this seat over all the others, not only because it was a double swivel base, which is exactly what we wanted, but it was the only double swivel base that had been M1 tested. Now I'm sure you're asking, what does M1 testing mean? Well, you can see this beautiful graph here that explains exactly what M1 testing means. So what this graph shows is that at the red and orange line at the top, that is the limit force. That's the amount of force that they're putting on the seat. And that's 13,500 kilonewtons, which is some sort of regulatory force. So essentially they put that on the seat and then they measure how long it takes in order for the seat to move, aka to give way. Now, the legal minimum is 200 milliseconds, which is here. And as you can see, our seat lasted twice that length, which means that it's well in the safety range that it needs to be.
So there you go. Swivel seats are worth it, but only if you're smart as to how you use them in your design. And it depends whether you're using them for full-time living or just temporary living.
Go to our website for our new merch, join us on Patreon for exclusive discounts and content, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you never miss a video. See you later, peeps.
So again, if you want to see how to install these swivel seats, then please do subscribe and press the bell notification icon so you don't miss out.